Ridley Scott will live forever because he's got a big old dick. Welcome to the Movie Epidemic podcast. I'm your host, Buck Cully with the Duke, joined as always.
He's gonna. By me, I'm Charlie J. Fox. Ridley Scott is gonna live forever because I'm fairly confident that he sucked the life force out of H.R. Geiger, and now he gets two lives.
Maybe Tony Scott too.
Yeah, dude, he's sucking the life out of people. He's a vampire. He's a vampire. My name's Charlie J. Fox. Today on Movie Epidemic.
Kind of weird when we interviewed Ridley Scott and he had to ask permission to enter the studio.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing that I noticed about Ridley Scott when we interviewed him is that most people they bring a little something, you know, wine. They bring like some trail mix at least. It pissed me off. It really wrecked my day.
A rude man. Today we're talking about some films. Oh boy,
we're talking about
films.
King Arthur. Woo! Ray, we'll be talking about Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. Unbelievable shit. We're gonna be talking about The Bad Batch. That's from I forget her name. Anna Lily Emapur. Is that? Am I saying that correctly?
Lily Emapur. Yeah. Anna Lily Emapur.
Yeah. The new film from her, director of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Fantastic film.
Too long. Title's too long though.
Bad title. Good film.
Good film. So this week I actually discovered something incredible, Buck Leduc. Do you know what I discovered?
What's that?
Now this is something I've always generally been aware of, but I've never really, dived into it until just this week. But I discovered the but I've been doing meth for years. But I dived into the wonderful world of fan fiction. Have you ever done this before? This is a mistake, by the way. Just so you know. So I've been reading an incredible fan fiction called My Immortal, and essentially what this is that this 12-year-old girl wrote a Harry Potter fan fiction about what would happen if all of the Harry Potter characters became Slytherins, and then they became Satanists and become goth, and then they become obsessed with My Chemical Romance and Good Charlotte, and then Snape gets kicked out of Slytherin because he likes to bang dudes too much. It's the most insane. It's the most insane thing. If you've never read My Immortal, you got to check it out. It's 160 pages of absolute fucking madness. So for sure, check that out.
Pretty interesting. I didn't know you could read. I've never listened to a Good Charlotte song. I don't know what that is.
I think they did the theme song for undergrads, but that's about all I know about Good Charlotte.
It's definitely something that I've heard people say, but I've certainly never heard a second of it.
Not even a New York nanosecond.
I've never heard a New York nanosecond of Good Charlotte.
So I got to see Queen this past week live in concert, which was actually fucking incredible. If you've never seen Queen, they got Adam Lambert with them now, and you think Adam maybe Lambert
of, American Idol fame.
That is correct. And you think maybe he wouldn't be a good Freddie surrogate, but let me tell you, he's as good as Jesse Eisenberg is at being Woody Allen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as good as Jesse Eisenberg is at being Lex Luthor, because he is the best Lex Luthor.
You son of a bitch. So today on the Movie Epidemic podcast, we're going to be talking about a few movie shows, King Arthur, Bad Batch, and Spider-Man 2, continuing our Spider-Man franchise. Really excited to talk about that one. Oh, shit. Should we start off with Bad Batch?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the most confused I've ever been watching a movie, and I just have so many questions here. First of all, this is my first question and probably my biggest problem with the movie, but you're going to bill Ribisi third? You're going to bill Ribisi third and then give him one line?
Ribisi in the shit?
Yo, you're going to bill him third build, and give him one line of dialogue. That seems offensive.
My opinion, that's a waste of my time if I was Ribisi. If I was Ribisi, I would be like, because this is why I'm more successful than Giovanni Ribisi. Because when someone's like, hey, I need you to work this 4-hour shift, I'm like, no, that's a fucking waste of my time. You're going to put me in for 9 hours. And then they do that. See, that's what Ribisi needs to do.
Yeah, if I got to drive into work, you're giving me a full day's work, all right?
Yeah. Don't even fucking insult me.
Time, waste my gas. Yeah, you sons of bitches. So The Bad Batch is about Well, what would we even say it's about? First of all, the first hour is about nothing, unfortunately. The first hour, and it's just it's so confusing. Like, I'm not even that mad about this movie. I'm just confused because, like, the concept is really neat. If you got, like, this really neat universe that's, like, a post-apocalyptic cannibal universe.
Sure. Pretty strong world.
Wild, like, make it weirder. Like, you got so much shit that you can do with this world, and they did nothing with it. They just had Jason Momoa carve up a dude every now and again, and then they would go on a hunt for a little girl. It's fine, you know. I mean, sort of. I mean, it's mostly just like them being like, we got to find the little girl, and then they accidentally end up at the giant radio, and they're like, oh, well, now that we're at the giant radio, we better do some LSD. And then they do LSD. Yes, they wake up the next morning.
And you should, as one does.
As you do. And then they wake up the next morning, they're like, oh, fuck, we shouldn't have done LSD. We should have just continued looking for the little girl. Now she's farther away, and this is going to be a harder task. So the entire movie is like, Suki Waterhouse character, she plays the main character of the movie. And I don't know any of the names
Suki
of the characters. Yeah,
Suki. What do you mean? It's Miami Man and
is Miami Man his name?
Yeah, his name is Miami Man.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. His name is Miami Man. And then the other one is cost you an arm and a leg. So Suki Waterhouse's character is helping Jason Momoa's character for reasons I don't understand, because at the beginning of the movie, Jason Momoa's character orchestrates the removal of her right leg and her right arm, and then like a year later she's just like, oh yeah, I'll help you out. It's like, I think I wouldn't, you know. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I think I wouldn't. And so
it does play on some of my nightmares though, and one of them is being trapped at some sort of music festival or like a Burning Man. But also they eat you.
Watch it, yeah.
So to me, this is the scariest film of the year because I couldn't stop thinking about being in the California desert and being chased by cannibals.
Miami Man.
This is about to me, this is about 3 years into Trump's presidency. Is what this film is. Is when they just start annexing Mexico and just making it a prison, because that's what it is essentially. Is Mexico is a prison.
You know what I did like about this movie though, is that the first 15 minutes is completely dialogueless. There is no dialogue in the first 15 minutes, but you know what there is? The Ant word.
There sure is, and
sure is fun.
See, now, this is maybe a movie about nothing. Maybe it's a movie about class systems or so. It doesn't really matter what it's about. What does matter is the first 20 minutes are fucking awesome. It's a person struggling to survive, and every day is the worst day of her life, using feces and losing her limbs and crawling out of the desert into more desert. If you don't think that's awesome, you need to do less meth, and then nothing happens for an hour.
And like, yeah, it does. It sort of tricks you into thinking that it's going to be a movie about something. And like, honestly, if the movie was just about her trying to escape, like a crazed cannibalistic Jason Momoa, that's how you make a horror film right there, by the way. That's how you make a fucking horror film, because there is no human being.
This is a Western, Chadley.
I know it's a Western, but it should have been a horror movie, because there is no human being that I am more scared of than Jason Momoa, dude.
He pulls his dick out and he's huge.
Yeah, he's just got those scary looking eyes, and he's so ripped that like
he's intimidating. He's an intimidating man.
His muscles make him look like he's got tits. Like, that's how big he is, dude.
I've seen that fucking Justice League trailer like 10 times in theaters, and there's a point where he jumps on the Batmobile and he's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's the scariest man to ever exist.
Another thing that's weird about this movie is that most of the characters are kind of like, you know, crazy characters, but then like some of the characters are like just like hot girls who are level-headed and like hot people who are level-headed, and it's like, I think once the apocalypse happens, those people are gone. All right, those people are gone. There's not going to be hot, level-headed people in the apocalypse. Okay,
you don't think he'd leave around a couple bitches to?
Yeah, but they wouldn't maintain their hotness, dude. You let it slide after the apocalypse happens, dude. You go a few days without.
But maybe Keanu Reeves, the Dream. His name is the Dream, by the way. I looked it up.
Yep. That is absolutely true. But the Suki Waterhouse character, she looked like she was recently showered this entire movie, which she would not be, which she fucking would not be.
Well, she did find housing at some point. She was living in a house at some point.
Well, she was living in like a shack. It didn't have a shower though. It didn't have a working shower.
Hey, you can make a shower. You don't know that. It's salt flats, baby. Werner Herzog. I want Werner Herzog to take a crack at this film.
Yo, that's what I was thinking too. That's what I was thinking too. Is that like it reminded me a lot of Salt and Fire, the new Werner Herzog movie, and I'm like, man, let's just give this to Werner. Let's see what he does, because Werner would make it like even more boring somehow, and that's the most fascinating. That the concept of this movie being less interesting fascinates me more than it probably should.
Yes.
Oh man. It's visually appealing, kind of, really, sort of. Sometimes
it's pretty dope looking. Awesome soundtrack because Anna likes that hipster music, and she uses it. She definitely uses it in her last film, also, which I actually really like. I don't know if we ever talked about. Did we talk about that movie on here?
I think we talked about it when we talked about like we talked about like top 5 vampire movies, and I think we mentioned it one point.
Well, that movie's fucking awesome. Like, go watch that one.
Yeah. Now let's talk performances. Suki Waterhouse, fine. Jason Momoa, fine. Giovanni Ribisi, pretty funny, but for the most part, fine. Keanu Reeves, the best he's ever fucking acted, dude.
Dude, I'm sorry. I forgot Keanu Reeves was the greatest actor on the planet.
Where did this come from, Keanu? You've spent the last 20 years making yourself very well known as the worst actor ever, and then you bust out a performance like that? What fuck?
Keanu, I think he just decided that, like, trying to act wasn't for him, and now he's just embodying filth. he's like I'm gonna try and act in one movie. I'm gonna be in 5 movies this year. I'm gonna act in one of them, and it'll be the one that nobody sees. No person has ever seen this movie.
It's just you and me and a bunch of douchebags at like penny theaters and shit, right? Like,
yeah,
man, Keanu is so good. Giovanni Ribisi, like, his dialogue is funny, as scarce as it is. Here's the thing that confused me the most. Okay, so you turn on the movie and you get the opening credits. It's like Suki Waterhouse. All right. Yeah, all right. You got Jason Momoa. Okay. Then you got Giovanni Ribisi. Not really in the movie, but okay. I mean, it's a big name. You got to throw it in there. Understandable. Sure. And Keanu Reeves. Those are really the only 4 people who are billed in this film.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody warned me that fucking Jim Carrey was going to be in like 70% of this fucking movie. Doing nothing to just
doesn't utter a word, so you should like it.
I did like that they didn't have him talking. I do appreciate that. And I don't hate Jim Carrey. I just don't necessarily fucking like him either. And like,
I think he was good in this.
He doesn't really do anything, like, and his character doesn't really have a purpose. And like, I think the purpose of his character was to save the Jason Momoa character from death. But like, at the end of the movie, Jason Momoa just rolls up on a motorcycle anyway, so it doesn't really matter what happens there because he's just gonna roll up on a motorcycle. There is just so many times in this movie where suddenly they're just doing shit, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, when they go to the rave for the first time, I'm like, okay, we're at a rave, and that's a lot of fun. Keanu Reeves is throwing a rave, and he's getting up there. He's like, we are the Bad Batch, and you're like, man, that's good. That's good acting. And they're just at the rave. She brought a kid to a rave, and you're like, wait, why did they come here? What drew them to this? Like, what? Why are they here?
Well, I don't think any of that really matters because this is fucking art house drivel, Chadley.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely art house trap. There is an amazing sequence where she takes the Suki Waterhouse character takes LSD, and then it's just shit. And it's just wild backgrounds for like 5 minutes. I'm like, who sanctioned this? Here's what this movie feels like to me. This movie feels like a skeleton of a great movie, but like they went with their, not even like their first draft. They went with like the fucking layout of the screenplay. They went with just the layout. They didn't even like pen a draft. They're like, all right, here's our layout. And they're like, all right, let's make it. And they're like, whoa, hold on. We got a few drafts to work through here before we just start making this shit. Jim Carrey doesn't even have any lines yet.
See, you say that, but I think knowing how Anna Lily Ampere works, I think this is very methodical. I think everything was planned out in this film. I think you're not supposed to know what's going on, and I guess some people like that.
Yeah, no, I think that is what it is, and obviously it's an artistic choice. I don't know if I agree with it. It just kind of seems stupid.
Well, that's why people don't let you make movies, Chad.
Well, it just sort of drains the entertainment value from the movie. Like there could be this felt like shitty like Mad Max fan fiction. Like I felt like there's so much potential here to be something interesting. And if you watch the trailer, this movie looks fly, dude. This movie looks dope.
I know, that's how I tricked you into watching it.
Yeah, and then you watch the actual movie and you're like, oh, literally the only good things in the movie are in the trailer. That's just such a bizarre choice. It's like the more that actually happens in this movie, the less that happens. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. Like the more I watch it,
it's interesting because I didn't think a movie could exist that like less stuff happens than Spring Breakers.
Oh man, way less stuff. Like easily half of what happens in Spring Breakers. I also want to go on record and say that while watching this movie, I fell asleep 2 times. 2 times, okay? I started watching this last night, fell asleep, went to bed, and was like, all right, I'll give it another crack tomorrow night at like 7 or whatnot. That's why it took me 3 fucking hours to watch the rest of this movie, because I fell asleep again. I fell asleep a second time because it's so boring. There's not much dialogue in the movie either. Like it is very minimalist. This is like the most minimalist movie I've seen in like a couple of years.
I do. I think it's an interesting film. I think you have to be in the mood to watch it. You have to be in the mood to watch some art house or some surrealist film. You get it's the same mood I'm in when I want to watch like some David Lynch or something. It's like when I want to watch Eraserhead, when I want to watch Eraserhead, like when I'm in that mood, when I'm in a mood where I'm like, I'm 4 beers deep, I want to watch Eraserhead. That's the kind of mood you got to be in to watch the Bad Batch.
I was looking at David Lynch and his filmography the other day, and I realized something is that like I've only ever seen Dune. That's like literally the only thing David Lynch has ever done that I've seen.
Oh, well, all the other ones are very interesting, Chadley, so maybe check out those.
Are they as good as Dune?
Yeah, I mean, Dune is the best film that he's made, but you need to see Eraserhead.
Yeah, I should see Eraserhead. Every time I see the poster,
how can you even call yourself a film person if you've never seen Eraserhead or
every time I see
Drive?
Every time I see the poster,
Velvet.
Oh, I have seen Blue Velvet.
Okay, you've seen Blue Velvet.
I have seen Blue Velvet, but every time I see the poster for Eraserhead, I think that exact thing. That's like, man, I probably should watch that at some point. Just looks so wild.
You have to be in a mood. You have to be in a mood for it. It's all David Lynch is like when you're like, man, I could watch some avant-garde shit right now that doesn't make any sense. You have to be in that mood.
Well, when I'm in that mood, I usually just throw on Videodrome, dude. I just need something that's just wild.
Yeah, Videodrome is good.
Dude, Videodrome is like real fucking good, dude. I love Videodrome. But when watching The Bad Batch, there's really only one thing on my mind, right? I just wanted Suki Waterhouse and Jason Momoa to fuck, right? Like that's really all.
Yeah. You would toss her around. He's a big lad. There's like that bizarre scene where there's the sandstorm, so he brings the sheet. Oh, I'm sorry, Chadley. You've never seen Inland Empire?
I've never seen Inland Empire. I've also never seen Twin Peaks either.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chadley. You've never seen the greatest TV show of all time? Maybe watch something David Lynch has made. Never mind. Go back to whatever you're saying.
No, this is what I'm saying, dude. I've never like I gotta get caught up, dude. I gotta get caught up.
Oh, I'm sorry. You never watched Lost Highway? Just kidding. Lost Highway is no good.
Oh, you never seen Tree of Life? No, I'm just kidding. That's Terrence Malick. There's like that weird scene where they get underneath the sheet in the middle of the sandstorm, and there's some really uncomfortable sexual tension between the two, and it looks like they're about to fuck, and then they never address it again.
Anna Lily is a feminist, though, so there is no sex in these films.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. But, like, don't have them trying to fuck each other then. Like, that's weird. If you're not going to, if it's going to be completely sexless, don't have them try to fuck each other.
What do you, Rush?
Yeah.
Be completely sexist. You must be Rush.
I also think that there is a scene at the end of the movie where she's sitting down with Keanu Reeves. And I would say as soon as she gets inside the mansion at the end of the movie, I'd say that the movie ramps up like a little bit at that point. But even then, like the stakes are pretty low. She goes in there and she's like, hey, Keanu Reeves, you kidnapped the kid. And he's like, yeah, I sure did. And she's like, you're going to have to give that kid back. And he's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, here I'm gonna send you and the kid on the merry way. Make sure to take care of the rabbit, which by the way they do not. But like there's that scene at the end that I actually like where he's sitting down with the Suki Waterhouse character, and he goes, he's talking to her, and he's like, you know, everything that you have ever done in your life is building up to this moment, and then he says the line. That the entire movie was building up to. It was a fucking 100-minute like build up to one punchline where he goes, must have cost you an arm and a leg to get here. And you're like, oh, there it is.
Yo, it's like they started with that. They started with that. And they're like, how do we get here?
How do we get her to the weird?
How do we waste so much of Vice's money? Like, how can we waste as much of Vice's money as we can?
I feel like there's a 90-minute cut of this that they wanted to use, and then someone was like, no. We got a better idea. Let's make this 2 hours.
Let's make this the most specific thing ever. Like this is like for dudes with twirly mustaches that watch it at 12:30 at night with a tall boy of Pilsner. This is the most specific movie ever made. You can watch this movie, yes, and you know exactly who is watching this film.
Dude, the first 5-star review that I see of this on letterboxd.com, that'll be an immediate unfollow for sure.
No, they're not. So the people of Letterboxd are not smart enough to appreciate this film. That's honest.
Yeah, and I'm actually a great example of that. I didn't get it. And you know what? I think I'm okay to admit that at some points in this movie, I didn't really get it. And I think that's okay, but like, I know more, I'm not a movie, like, I don't know a lot about movies, but I know a lot more than most people. And if I don't get it, then guess what? Most people
it's inaccessible for sure. But I think that is why I needed to see it, and I think it was an interesting experiment for the show. But we should probably move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Carrey's in this movie, sorta. So we made top 5 Jim Carrey movies. I don't know. Have we ever done this?
I don't think so. I don't recall.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, we've talked about Jim Carrey movies before, but let's pump through. I'm going to start us off this week. My number 5 is just there because it's just a fun movie to watch at the holidays. And number 5 is Dr. Seuss. Oh, excuse me. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Grinchy.
Ron Howard.
The Grinchy boy.
Ron Howard of Inferno fame.
Chadley watches The Bad Batch and turns into a little Grinchy boy.
Here's the thing. Bad Batch, very bad. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, good film. That's how I see the world.
Speaking of good films, my number 5 is the number 23.
Oh my God. How do you think this is good? How can you possibly? It's not, dude. It's really not. About halfway through the movie, because like for the first half of the movie, he's like a family man, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But then halfway through the movie, it becomes Sin City for some reason, and he's wearing a fucking cloak, and he's trying to track down his like prostitute girlfriend or something like that. Like, it's just insane. Clearly, that's an insane movie.
It's like I wish he would have fucked the devil like in The Ninth Gate.
Yeah, dude, it is Joel Schumacher's The Ninth Gate for sure.
It totally is. It's totally like an outlier in his catalog.
But I do think that Ninth Gate is like eons better than the number 23 because that's a perfect film in number 23.
I would agree. I know number 23 is great, but I do think that the Ninth Gate is a perfect film. I do think though that out of Schumacher's catalog, that Falling Down is better than everything Roman Polanski has ever made.
What is Falling Down? What is that?
It's interesting because you've quoted that movie to me before, and I don't know if you realized you stole lines from that film or not.
Probably heard on like Family Guy or something.
Yeah, so it's one of those movies that you've quoted to me like a lot, and I guess you've never seen it.
I don't even know what it is. Apparently, I've quoted it, dude. That's insane. When have I quoted this? What are the quotes?
I can't remember what it was, but I was watching it a couple months ago, and I'm like, oh, Chadley says that all the time. And that's obviously from this movie, but I'm pretty sure he's never seen this.
Yeah, dude, I probably just ganked that straight off of like South Park, Family Guy, something like that. Maybe The Simpsons. My number 4. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but this movie is fucking amazing. Have you ever seen I Love You, Philip Morris?
Yeah, it's a good film.
Dude, I Love You, Philip Morris is awesome, dude. There's like an amazing scene where Jim Carrey, because like the movie is Jim Carrey plays a gay guy and he just goes through a bunch of boyfriends where he buys his boyfriend a gold watch, and he's like, hey man, I got you this gold watch, and he's like, oh, I don't really like gold, and he's like, tricked you, I got you a silver one, gold one's mine, dipshit. It is a very funny movie. Ewan McGregor plays Philip Morris, his gay lover, and it's surprisingly powerful and super funny because Jim Carrey just basically keeps getting out of prison and then doing like more tax fraud and then going back to prison. Then he gets out of prison, and guess what he does when he gets out? More tax fraud, dude. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Fun with Dick and Jane.
My number 4. A film that I think I've seen maybe once, Kick-Ass Part 2.
I've never seen this movie. When this movie came out, we tiptoed around it so we didn't have to talk about it on this show. We were very careful to not mention its existence like at all.
Interesting. I'm not letting you duck out any movies anymore. I'm making you watch Terrence Malick this year. I'm not letting you duck around it anymore.
Oh no, dude, I got away with not seeing Knight of Cups.
I think you would have liked Knight of Cups. We'll see about Song to Song. It's got Gosling and Fassbender and Natalie Portman.
Ooh, see, that's a good cast, but like Terrence Malick always has a good cast. That's how he gets you, dude. That's how he tricks you.
That is how he gets you. Much like Kick-Ass Part 2, pretty good cast.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. What happened to was Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Hey, whatever happened to Aaron Taylor Johnson? Oh yeah, Godzilla.
God, is he dead now? I would hope so.
I have no idea.
I don't want to see him in movies anymore. My number 3.
What about Christopher Mintz-Plasse? He just goes to raves and shit now, hey?
Oh yeah, and you know what's funny?
It out.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse doesn't age, which is fantastic. So he's perpetually McLovin, and so like when he goes to like raves and shit like that, he's just flailing around, and nobody really wants to be around him because he's not a cool dude.
Have you ever seen that video of the guy holding up the McLovin sign? And then he like at a rave and he walks up to him and the guy doesn't realize it's him for like straight up like 10 minutes. And then like he points at the sign. He's like, dude, that's me. And he takes off his sunglasses and he's got a beard now. So he's like, but he still looks like McLovin. And he's like, oh, and he's like hugging him and shit.
Why would you bring a McLovin sign if like you weren't there to hang out with McLovin?
I don't know.
Dude, that's incredible. My number 3. It's the Ed Harris classic, baby. I really like The Truman Show.
Yeah, that's also my number 3.
Ooh, shit! Is it official? Are we gonna have
official?
I think we might have an official top 3 if you put things in the correct order. But I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't put them in the correct order. But The Truman Show is a lot of fun. Like it's one of those things that I think everybody thinks about at some point. Like, what if
I don't even really like The Truman Show? I just think it's one of his better films.
I like The Truman Show, dude. I think The Truman Show is really good. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Who's the main girl in it? It's like is it like No, it's not Allison Janney, but it's somebody like that. But either way, it's a great fucking movie, dude. Truman Show is a lot of fun. Biff from Back to the Future plays his best friend. That's good stuff. That's good. Am I misremembering that? I think I might be. I don't think that actually is Biff. I think I might be misremembering that. Oh no, I think it is. Hold on. We're gonna figure this out. I think it must be Biff, because like if it's not Biff, it's somebody who's like that, who's famous. It's Noah Emmerich, who is not Biff, but I've seen Noah Emmerich in something. Oh yeah, he was in an episode of Master of None. That's how I know who he is.
The recent classic Master of None. Interesting.
That is
number 2. No, it's your turn.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh, to be fair though, Noah Emmerich of Truman Show fame does in fact kind of look like Biff, if we're being a little bit fair here. My number 2. I don't really go in for the wacky shit, but sometimes the wacky shit is just good, and it's hard to argue with it. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, baby. It's wacky as hell, and I love it, dude.
Oh, it's the gaggiest movie of all time, and that's why it's perfect.
I'm the Monopoly Man. Like it's so.
I'm sorry. Is there ever been a better gag than Jim Carrey crawling out of a fucking giant robotic rhino's asshole? No, there's never been a better gag.
I think my favorite gag of the entire movie is when he's like, somebody throw me a spear, and then they spear him in the leg, and he's like, ah! All right, throw me another spear, and they spear him in the other. Like, fuck, dude, it's so good. It is so freaking funny. I love this movie so much. I could honestly watch it. And you know what? Here's the crazy thing.
I don't even like the first one. I don't think the first one's good at all.
That's what I was gonna say. Is the first one's bad. The first one's really bad.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah, the second one is awesome.
I could watch the second one every day. We could do a podcast where we watch Ace Ventura every day for a year, and I would never grow tired out of
it. You know what? That'd be a fun experiment. We'll have to hold off on that one. We'll have to keep that one in the hat real quick.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's already a podcast that watches. I think it's the Mortal Kombat movie every day, or is it Street Fighter? I think it might be Street Fighter.
Why?
They watch it. They watch it. They do a podcast every week, but they watch Mortal Kombat every single day.
Where's the new content? Like, what do you gain from that?
I don't know. I've never listened to it. I've just seen it.
That's bizarre. All right, what's your number 2? I think I know what it is already.
My number 2 is Man on the Moon.
Oh shit! Okay, maybe I didn't know what it was already. I'm confused now because I've never seen Man on the Moon.
Well, you need to go watch Man on the Moon tonight.
Hey, if there's anything we've learned from today's podcast, a lot of movies I gotta see still.
Hey, apparently you've seen no movies.
I felt like I was getting pretty caught up in all the movies that I had to watch, but tonight you're proving me wrong.
Because as far as I'm concerned, you've never seen a single movie in your life.
Drew, I've seen every Richard Linklater film and most of Danny Boyle's.
You've not seen every Richard Linklater film.
Sure I have. What haven't I seen by Richard Linklater?
I bet you've never seen. What's that first one he did?
I don't know, but I've probably seen it, honestly. I love Richard Linklater.
You've never. That's insane.
I've seen Boyhood. I've seen what's his Dazed and Confused.
Hey, you've never seen Slacker. For sure you've never seen Slacker. I know you've never seen Slacker.
It's vaguely familiar. I might have seen it a long time ago, but I not to my knowledge have I seen it.
There's no way you've seen Waking Life. I know you've never seen A Scanner Darkly.
Oh, I have never seen A Scanner Darkly. God damn it, you're right.
Motherfucker, I know you've never seen that shit.
I have seen every Cube movie though. I have seen every movie. No, Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yeah, well,
I've even seen like some of his like early shit, like his like shit that he did before Spartacus and stuff. I love the Cube.
Well, that's understandable. He's only got like 12 movies, so it's like you can watch all those eventually.
So like the thing is like Jim Carrey's 2 best movies are my number 2 and number 1. But at this point, you have to have omitted one from your list, and that's just confusing to me because both of them are too good to omit. My number 1, a little bit of Charlie Kaufman. No puppet finger in this one. It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Holy fuck, man, this movie's good. Kirsten Dunst in her underwear, jumping around on the bed with Elijah Wood. That's good content.
Yeah, you like that movie, hey?
You don't like Eternal Darkness of the Spotless Mind?
admitted it for the number 23.
Oh, you son of a bitch, dude. I can't believe you've done this.
Because my number one is Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
Fucking of course it is, dude. It's clearly the funniest movie he's ever been in. Oh, it's unreal, dude. He drops the raccoon off the mountain, dude, and the raccoon he falls. The CG raccoon falls on the green screen, dude. It's wild. I can't believe they even made that movie. Like, honestly, after seeing the first movie, it just makes no sense that they would greenlight a sequel. But god damn, am I ever happy that they did.
Another movie that I'm very confused that anyone would ever make, or how it got greenlit, is King Arthur. But we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. Give that a few minutes. There's a lot of movies that Jim Carrey did in his time that I don't understand. The Mask. Like, people who talk about The Mask and like are like, oh, it's like one of the funniest movies of all time.
Oh, hey, if you like The Mask, no, you don't. Yeah. Because you definitely don't like The Mask.
If you like The Mask, then you don't like film. That's how I see it. What's that other one that people tend to like? Oh, Dumb and Dumber, which is like seriously maybe in my top 10 worst movies ever, dude. It's so fucking horrible.
Oh yeah, my friend's cat's name is Lloyd Christmas, and I'm like, oh, you don't like film.
Hey, 2 sequels? 2 sequels, huh? That seems like an absolute mistake, doesn't it? I'm sorry, 2 sequels? That's another movie. That's another movie.
Hey,
I tiptoed
don't
around.
talk to me about Liar Liar. If anybody ever talks to me about Liar Liar again, I'm gonna fucking shoot up a mail station, a post office.
Oh, a post office. Okay, not a mail station. Wait, a mail station?
Don't worry about
it. Mail station, post office. I like that you tried to retcon it real quick. I never would have noticed. Had you not say something.
Hey, don't worry about it.
I would have been like, yeah, he's going to shoot up a mail station. Of course he is.
Yeah, obviously. That makes complete sense.
My number 1 is Spider-Man 2. I don't know. I just decided to count down to that for some reason. Let's talk about Spider-Man 2. Man,
it's the greatest superhero movie ever made, for sure.
Hey, remember the first one, how it's like goofy and comic booky to the max?
Mm-hmm. I do remember that, yeah.
They somehow made it more so, and I thought that there was no further you could go with the goofiness.
Oh, but what's amazing about it is Sam Raimi can make the goofiest fucking colorful film ever. Oh, but also it's the most genuine movie ever made. What the fuck?
Oh, it's got a legitimately interesting and kind of heartwarming story to it. That's freaking bizarre. So Spider-Man 2 starts off how every great movie should start off, with Spider-Man delivering pizza in his Spider-Man suit, which is immediately a hilarious gag. Like, that's an immediately hilarious gag. And then essentially it devolves into like, Harry's angry revenge, and then for some reason, Mary Jane is dating J. Jonah James's son. She's in some musical that Bruce Campbell, for some reason, is the doorman to. This one there's a lot of fun stuff in this one. A lot of great action sequences as well.
Sure.
And a lot of that is due to Alfred Molina.
Oh, he's so good.
He's good at
the strongest villain maybe ever.
Oh, easily the strongest villain in cinema history, like at least in a superhero film for sure. Because watching action sequences between, hey, you know what's really boring is when superheroes fight their counterparts. When Iron Man fights another Iron Man, you know what's not super boring? When a guy who shoots web has to shoot a guy with giant mechanical octopus arms, because those are different.
You fighting an octopus, man? You spider. Oh wait, spiders have lots of legs too, but no, it shoots web.
There's that really good sequence where they're like fighting on the building because
that seems amazing.
That's incredible. And then he like holds the ant and the girlfriend up. He's like, which one do I drop? That's really good stuff, man.
I do think some of the CG is a little suspicious at times, but I think it holds up pretty well, all things considered.
Oh, you know what still kind of looks decent though is like that part where the machine breaks and that shard of glass CG flies through the air.
Oh man, I wish I had the 3D edition.
Yo, because it still kind of looks good. Like, it's not great, but like for 2004, it still kind of looks good, dude.
Pretty sweet, pretty slick. Man, Sam Raimi is a zany bitch, and he knows what he's doing, and I think that's what makes everything so perfect in these films. Is he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, and I think like they tried to take a step closer to the Tobey Maguire character being a bit more zany, like in the comic books in this one. I don't know if Tobey Maguire can really pull it off, because here's the thing about Tobey Maguire. Here's the thing about Tobey Maguire. I love the man. He's a great actor. Not funny though. He's not funny like at all. He's the least funny man ever, and every time he tells a joke, it just makes me uncomfortable. But James Franco's up in this bitch again. I wish there was more for James Franco to do in this movie. You know, like
this one's a little light on Franco. Like you're setting up Franco for the next one essentially, and he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, because like a lot of this movie is like the relationship between Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson, which again, I feel there's not a whole lot for her to do in this movie either. I mean, more so than James Franco. But this one really is just like all that stuff is like B plot, which most superhero movies don't do that. Like, it's like, oh, Pepper Potts, that's the main plot of the movie. And it's like, okay, let's make that the B plot and have the A plot be Spider-Man trying to thwart Dr. Octopus. That's the way to do it. That's the way to write this screenplay. And that's exactly how they do it.
Oh, that's a shit we do like.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. And then there is that amazing I love like the giant magnet, like that. Like the giant magnet is just such a classic superhero villain or a super villain trope.
Yo, that's the most Spider-Man thing you can come up with. It's like Stan Lee was like, "Yo, what would be cool? How about a giant magnet?" That's like I've heard Stan Lee talk about his writing days when him and like Jack Kirby were sitting in a fucking 4x8 room in Manhattan, and they're like, this little lad should shoot jizz out of his wrists. He's a spider lad.
And I can just see like his old wrinkly face, just like with his sunglasses, like, what if it were a giant magnet? Like I can just hear him saying it.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this guy's got metal arms. What could possibly thwart him? How about a giant magnet? Okay, Stanley, that's the most Stanley thing you could possibly make.
This one starts to fall into like the same trope as like some of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, where like by the end of the movie, it's like it's almost stupid. Like pretty much everyone involved in this is like really dumb for not figuring out that he's Spider-Man. You know, like anybody who hasn't figured out that he's Spider-Man, like I feel like Peter Parker's like, come on, man, like you know, right? Like you have to know. Like he's taking off
pictures. I'm taking pictures 4 feet away from him. It's me. I'm taking selfies and shit. And
haven't you noticed these are all selfies? and then he even takes his mask off, like at the train part. He just like takes it off, and it's like whoa.
I haven't seen this new Spider-Man movie yet, but if there's not a Spider-Man selfie that he hands into J. Jonah Jameson, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Yo, is J.K. Simmons playing J. Jonah Jameson? Because I feel like that would be a good gag.
No, he's not. He's Commissioner Garden now. He's Commissioner Garden.
Oh yeah, he is Commissioner Garden. Who is playing J. Jonah Jameson? Because like that is an essential
I don't even know
role.
if he's in it. I don't know if he's in the movie. I don't know anything about the film. I literally know nothing about it. I'm going in cold.
See, the movie is sitting at a 96% right now, and just like so much of me is confused by that. Like, there's no way it's that good, right?
It's impossible.
Yeah, but like Doctor Strange sat at like an 82%, and that's confusing to me as well, because that's a 1-star film.
The easiest 2-star film I've ever made. The visuals.
It's really bad. People, and like even like Civil War, I think was at like 92%. Like really, people really like these superhero movies, and that's why they keep on coming, because the critics keep saying they're good, and people keep going to see them. And you and I seem to be the only ones sitting here being like, "Hey, what if these are not good?"
No, there are others. They're just all of us. Everybody that has this opinion are on these fucking public access television shows.
Yeah, we get sort of shafted, you know. People just like push us to the bottom of the barrel, and they're like, these guys didn't like Ant-Man. Yeah, get out of here with that shit, you know. Although I know you
the other day saying that someone enjoys the show because it's like watching a public access show from the 90s, and I'm like, God bless you. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what we're going for. That's the only thing I've ever watched, so yeah, it makes sense to me. Hell yeah, it's like a public access show. In fact, we should get this on public access. I feel like we could work that.
Yeah, our old show was on public access. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not, right? Yeah, no, I think that Spider-Man 2 is spectacular because it focuses on the action. It focuses on the action and not the little shit. There is little shit. There's B plots, but like the main plot of this movie is like stop Dr. Octopus. It's never anything more or less.
Mostly because Alfred Molina is so fucking good.
Oh, he is so great, dude. He's unreal.
Yeah, it's good. And like I find it even strange that people shit on this series. We'll talk about it more next week, but I'm shocked that people don't like. Are you fatigued of fun? Are you fatigued of fun blockbusters? Because that's what these are. They're not Dark Knight. They're not trying to be Dark Knight. They're trying to be literally. I bet Sam Raimi's never read a comic book in his life, and that's why it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. He just went in. He's like, all right, Octopus Man, doctor.
Got it. He's a doctor. Fucking, I get it.
And they're like, who are you gonna call? And he's like, I'm just gonna ring up Alfred real quick here and see if I can get him on the chops real quick.
Yeah, he's made of sand. I got it. Don't worry about it.
He's Black Spider-Man. Like, what do you got to know?
He might be an alien or something. Doesn't matter.
Fuck it. Just make the movie. Yeah. No, it's Spider-Man 2 is awesome. And like the end sequence, like the end fight is so much better than the end fight in the first movie where it's just like them in like that courtyard. But like in this one, it's like them in like that.
Well, this one had some money behind it, I think.
Yeah, because like I think with the first one, they were like, we don't know what's gonna happen with this one, and then they're like, okay, we can sink a lot of money into this. Gotcha.
It shows too. It looks like a big budget movie from 2004.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still like a pretty good looking movie. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Spider-Man is 100% CG. Oh, dude, is that a cat? Oh, dude, Buckler Duke's got a cat. Yeah, meow at him. Oh, dude, does that cat like you? Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Oh, no, this is the girl cat.
She's a little princess.
Oh, she's beautiful. Does she have a mustache? She looks like she loathes your company. She looks like she hates you. Aren't you like super allergic to cats, dude? You're gonna die.
I'm not allergic to cats. Do a moment of meow. Kitty. Aww.
Oh, right into the microphone. Right into the microphone. Do. Ladies and gentlemen.
She's probably hungry. I'll have to get her some food at some point. Anyway, Spider-Man 2.
Thanks, Buck. You just doubled our subscribers.
The road to 500. Here we come.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, and I think Spider-Man 2 is so good because I think Sam Raimi just knows what he's doing. Like he understands the audience, whereas like New Marvel, I guess they understand their audience, but they also assume their audience is fucking morons. So like it's tough, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
tough to enjoy
superhero movies anymore. Anyway, what else we got on the palette today?
That was Spider-Man 2. That was a lot of fun. All right, I guess here we go. Oh, King Arthur.
Hey, who let Guy Ritchie make this movie? What the fuck?
Here's the question that I actually have about this movie is that who restricted Guy Ritchie when making this movie? Because it has none of the Guy Ritchie flair. Absolutely none of it, dude. You know, like when you see a guy.
It does look like a crazy music video. It looks like, this is basically a 2-hour trailer for something.
It's a 2-hour trailer for the movie that it is, King Arthur.
Giant mermaid snake monster. I don't know what the fuck any of this is. I've never read King Arthur, but it's not this. I have
read Camelot, and let me tell you, dude, it is nothing like this. It is nothing like this. There is never a point where he fights a Lionel centaur that has the head of Satan. Satan is really scary though, so like I will give them that.
Scary. We don't joke about Satan on this show.
Yeah. So when like Satan comes and he's a centaur, all of a sudden that actually is spooky, and then he turns back into Jude Law. So that's a lot of fun.
And like, here's the thing. It's a paper thin plot to begin with. He pulls the sword out. He's the king. There's a fucking round table. Knights and shit. This is the most confusing fucking convoluted thing I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, they add in a bunch of shit. Like they add in like the Jude Law character doesn't exist in the book, straight up. and not as far as I remember, anyways. A prostitute, that was a female prostitute. That was just weird. I'll let you know that Kay is neither female nor a prostitute in the book. Yeah. So essentially, what happens here is that Eric Bana, who might be back, by the way.
Eric Bana's back.
Dude, he might be back. So essentially,
you know what I really would have liked though is if Eric Bana played the lead character in this film rather than this Charlie Hunnam character.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam is he's most notable for what was he? He was in like Vampire Diaries or
he's in one of those shows, right? He's in one of those shows.
Yeah, one of those ones.
Anarchy, I think.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah. I've actually heard Sons of Anarchy is pretty good, but
it's probably good. But like TV actors are not making the jump right now. Even if you're in Game of Thrones, guess what? You can't make the jump.
Yeah, no, like we saw it with Emilia Clarke last year. She's not making the jump. Anything with Kit Harington, dude, like he's very bad. The only people who can make the jump are people who...
Oh, I'm sorry. Is your name Aidan Gillen? Then no, you can't make the jump.
Oh, but I think that's part of the problem too, is that I also think Aidan Gillen can't make the jump from Game of Thrones to movies either because he's bad.
No, he's the greatest actor to ever live.
Dude, Aidan Gillen, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, he's the best one from Game of Thrones. That's not even a joke.
Charles Dance.
He was in movies before though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can't. So Game of Thrones, when it comes to these fucking people that were in nothing before,
which is like
can act,
which is like almost all of them, dude. Like
most of them.
Yeah, they picked a lot of these people from like.
Oh, you're gonna tell me Peter Dinklage is good? Great, he's been in shit.
But I also don't know if I would say. I also don't know if I would say he's good per se.
He's a novelty act.
Yeah, absolutely. He's fine. He plays a short guy and stuff.
Freak.
Oh my god, dude! Jesus Christ!
You ever seen Freaks?
No. God damn, dude! You're barbaric.
I think we should just let these people be.
So, like, in the story of Camelot, like he pulls the sword from the stone and becomes the king, and like,
great.
Feels like that should be it, right?
Hey, where's Merlin?
Oh yeah, they say his name too, which is the most offensive part about it. They're like, Merlin gave us the Excalibur sword, and it's like, oh, you're gonna say that through exposition? Why not? He's a wizard. Show him. That's interesting.
Hey, show the fucking wizard. Don't give me this fucking Caitlin Olsen ass fucking doppelganger as a fucking witch or some shit.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but like he pulls the sword out of stone, and then they're like, all right, so that makes you the king. That should have been the end of it. That should have been the end. But instead, for some reason,
that's the first 30 minutes.
Him and like 5 new characters. This is OC for some reason. Lots of characters. Couldn't use Lancelot? I feel like you could have used Lancelot there. Although they did use Percival, which is actually a character from the book. But they created a bunch of shitty characters to take him on a walk through a desert so that they could abandon him on what they call it, like it's something super stupid. It was like Darkness Island or something like that. And
I wasn't really paying attention.
So they abandoned him
so
on
boring.
Darkness
It's the most boring thing I've ever fucking seen.
And then here's the crazy part is that he learns to like trust his sword, and then he's able to do Naruto shit with his sword. What? You're gonna have to back this up a little bit.
Oh, I didn't realize this was a super. There's supposed to be 6 of these movies. Why is there always like this happened with Power Rangers too, where it's like there's gonna be 6 of these movies. This is a new franchise, and it bombs.
Is that actually what they wanted to do? They wanted to like pioneer a franchise.
They wanted to universe this shit. Here's the thing though, $175 million doesn't look it.
Yeah,
That's
it really
a lot
doesn't.
of cash. That's one of the most expensive movies of the decade.
Yeah, it's an expensive movie, dude, and it's like it's one of those movies that they just use the color black a lot, and they're like, yeah, this looks pretty good, and it's like, well, maybe throw some color in there. Literally one color, literally any color. You got a palette, you got a full palette of colors, and you're just gonna use black, gray, and like dark white. Like fuck you, like it looks so shitty. There's some decent looking like fighting scenes, but even those are bogged down because they're so lifeless and colorless and forgettable.
Yeah, I read that the Digimon Hanzu character was supposed to be Idris Elbus, and Idris Elbus looked at the script and he's like, "Nah, we're not gonna make this movie."
Yeah, I will have no part of that. And you know what? That actually makes sense because I wouldn't do this movie if I was Idris Elba, which
I can't believe Guy Ritchie made this movie.
Like, yeah, that does seem weird. It does seem weird. Like I think what it must be is that he must have not had as much creative freedom as he usually does. Because usually he gets a little wild on these.
Well, movies. I think when it comes to like something like Sherlock Holmes, they're like they wrote him a blank check and they're like, make whatever Sherlock Holmes fucking movie you want, because that movie's crazy. That's crazy to be a blockbuster film. Yeah,
like Sherlock Holmes, like both of those movies are clearly like wild Guy Ritchie experiments, and like. And I think those movies did really well, and I think maybe they should have followed that. But here they clearly didn't give him any creative power. They were just like, here's the script.
Well, I don't know, though, because it's like it's one of the just weirdest structured films ever. So like it seems like his fingerprints could be all over this. It looks like a music video. It looks like a 2-hour music video where nothing like, dude, that first like half hour, it's just like a fucking rave where like shit's happening. And I'm like, what is this movie? Why is there rave? Why is there house music?
You know what's crazy is that they have that huge fight scene at the beginning between Jude Law and Eric Bana, and then they cut away from it before it ends, and then they show you how it ends like an hour into the movie, and you're like, what the fuck? What? That's insane. Why would you even think to do that?
Well, they made some choices in this one.
Why would you structure it like that? There's also like, it starts off like as soon as we get actually into the King Arthur stuff, because at the beginning of the movie, King Arthur is like 4 years old. And then like later in the movie, he was like, I was born in a brothel. And it's like, okay, you were 4 when you were separated from your dad. You probably remember at least a little some, you know? Then they jump into this like super lame training montage over like the opening credits, which like look like shit, dude. They look no better than the opening credits from Warcraft, for God's sakes.
Duncan Jones.
And then the problem with this movie is that they immediately and like constantly barrage you with just like this giant cast of characters, all of which are uninteresting and all of which have wild, crazy names that I will never remember.
I don't know a single name in this movie.
Like they'll be like,
I didn't realize the main character's name was Arthur until like 15 minutes till the end, and they're like, Arthur.
They're like, all right.
Oh, I see. It's King Arthur.
There'd just be like a bunch of white dudes in a room with beards, and it'd be like, Arthur, and it's like, yes, and it's like, this is Percival, and you're like, all right, that one I know, and they're like, this one is Kingston. You're like, okay, and it's like, this one is Baranusk. And this one is Jarvan, and this one is Karavanka, and it's like, what? Okay, you got stop saying names because none of these people are gonna have anything to do with the movie, and I'm trying to memorize all these things. I'm like jotting it down. I'm like jotting it down because I'm afraid.
You got a notebook? Got a notebook, sir?
Got a little notebook in the theater. I'm jotting it down, scared that I'm gonna forget literally the 900 characters that are in this movie, all of which that do absolutely nothing.
Well, I gotta go feed this cat, so I think it's probably the end of the episode.
Oh shit! All right, well, yeah, this movie fucking sucks. Don't ever 100% ever see it.
Guy Ritchie Aladdin, what are we doing here?
Guy Ritchie Aladdin. Happen? Here's the thing: is that I was pretty hopeful for that, but now I'm a little confused. My brain is telling me nah. My heart's saying no, Buck.
Oh no!
When it comes to Aladdin,
I'm done. I think I'm done with the live action Disney shit.
Yeah,
at least the remakes, like Pete's Dragon's was pretty good. I watched that one. But
you liked Pete's Dragon? Oh, I did not enjoy that.
No, I've never seen Pete's Dragon, the animated thing. So.
The new one's better than the animated one, but like the new one, it's just like such low stakes. Like, how are those stakes so low?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was a dragon, because to me that looks like a giant cat monster.
Yeah, it is just a cat monster.
Oh, you say you dragon because you look like giant cat monster.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie, it's just like it's so incredibly boring.
Which is like it shouldn't be, because there's rave music the entire time.
Well, why is it boring? Sometimes there'd be montages and like the music is a lot of fun, but like just nothing's going on in the montage. It's absolutely insane. Although the entire movie does seem like it's just a build up to King Arthur saying, all right, boys, let's gather the lads.
Let's get the lads. This is a round table.
Why is the table round? Go fuck yourself.
Oh, and then he gets high on snake venom, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, the lady puts the snake venom into his neck, and she's like, you're gonna love this. And then he gets super, super wasted on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this Romeo and Juliet by Baz Luhrmann?
Oh, you know what's the craziest part about this movie? You know what is the craziest part about this movie? Is that, like, at the end of the movie when he shows up to Jude Law's giant castle, and then just the giant snake just rolls in and kills all the guards, and it's
yeah, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Why is there a giant snake in this movie?
First of all, explain the giant snake. Second of all, if you had that the whole time, I feel like we could have skipped a lot of this, you know?
Just walk directly in with the giant snake.
Yeah, dude.
What is this like? She's like a fucking Caitlin Olsen, but not, but like looks exactly like Caitlin Olsen and is snake charmer.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
This movie is Naruto. I don't know enough about Naruto to make that claim, but I know there's giant snakes in that fucker.
Yeah, well, and there's like the thing where he focuses on his swords, and then like everything goes clock stoppers and pauses, and the puff of smoke comes up and it goes boo, and then he can run around real fast. I think that's a thing from Naruto. That seems yeah. There's also like the King Arthur character is like really unlikable too, which is just such a bizarre way to write that character. Like, they make him super cocky and douchey, and like I feel like they thought maybe that would be endearing, but it's just really obnoxious, dude. I hate it.
Oh, you hate it.
I absolutely hate it, dude. King Arthur is like clearly a 1-star film. One of the worst I've seen of this year. And the problem is like, it just Guy Ritchie on King Arthur. That sounds dope.
Yeah, it should be good. Like, I don't get it. Why is it bad?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Buck LeDuc has to feed a cat or else it's going to die.
It's literally going to die.
Next week, we're going to be talking about some movies. We're going to be talking about Okja. That's a new Netflix film. Bong Joon-ho, dude. Bong Joon-ho is back on the chops. Really excited about that one.
It's really weird that Sandy Wexler is one of the best films of the year so far.
Yeah, that is absolutely bizarre. Top 10 for sure.
Really strange. Really strange what's happening here.
We're going to be we're watching Spider-Man 3, which we've been screaming about Spider-Man 3, I feel like, for like months now.
It's the greatest movie ever made. We'll talk about it.
It's pretty good. And of course, we're going to be talking about Baby Driver. Baby Driver.
Baby.
Hi, baby.
Yeah, you baby.
Hi, baby. It's a lot of fun.
Baby, it's going to be our new chappy. All right.
Hi, baby. All right. Thanks for. I'm Desmond Doss. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Desmond Doss. Follow me on Twitter @DesmondDoss.